Okay, so here, the Chapter 5 review will test you on everything that we learned in Chapter 5, except for discounts, okay? This is just returns and allowances, and what do you do with them? And on top of that, it will test you all three methods that we learned. So FIFO, LIFO, and weighted average. But for today, we're just only going to cover the very first question here. Question number 1. So we're just going to practice how to use the inventory table as well as also practice journalizing. Okay? So in this case, because we need to practice journalizing first and then how to do the returns from there. Okay? So here you go. Question number 1. We're going to start again on June 5th. Okay? So June 5th, we purchased 1,000 toys at $1 each with a freight of $50. So in this case, I'm going to go to my journal here. And let's practice journalizing that transaction that we received our inventory and we purchased it. So in this case, how should I journalize this transaction? It is June 5th, right? What did we do? We bought 1,000 toys at $1 each with a freight of $50. How? Purchase expense, good. What else? Freight. All right, let's see. What did the question say? How did we pay for it? Does it say assume anything? Assume all purchases were made on an account. So in this case, accounts payable. Good. So I bought 1,000 units at $1 each. So how much should that be? 1,000 plus $50 freight, giving me a grand total 1,050. Okay, and again, I'll format it the way I like it. So in this case, I'm going to leave a note here saying that I purchased 1,000 toys at $1 each. Okay. So then we need to plug it into our inventory worksheet now. Okay. Here's my first inventory worksheet for question 1 here. So let's see. It is June 5th. We purchased 1,000 units at $1 with a freight of $50. So in this case, what is my purchase price? $1,000 plus $50. Total cost is $1,050. So in this case, now we need to solve for our cost per item because in this case, right, if you read the scenario, it says that assume that your inventory is periodic and it is FIFO. Okay, so that means we need to keep our batches separate. We need to calculate them accordingly because we are going to essentially sell them by batch. Okay, so in this case, question number 1, what is my cost per item? So 1050 divided by 1,000. $1.05. Good. Okay. So that was our very first purchase. Now let's see what happened next. On June 7th, you end up returning 200 of the toys because they were broken for a full refund. Okay? So first, let's at least acknowledge that we returned 200 broken toys for a full refund in our journal. Okay? How do we journalize a refund? I requested for a refund. Okay. What account do I need to use?
Accounts payable.
Accounts payable, because in this case, I put it on an account, but this time I never paid for it, so they can't give me back money. So instead, they're going to reduce my account and the amount that I owe. Okay. Now, what account am I going to use to indicate that I returned stuff? I returned inventory.
Purchase returns and allowance.
Purchase returns and allowances. Good. We're going to use a contra account to plug in here to demonstrate we have a return. So purchase returns and allowance. Okay. Now in this case, I'm going to go ahead and make my note here that I returned 200 toys, broken toys. Now in this case, I only have one batch of inventory. How much did it cost me per item that I bought the toys for?
$1.05.
Okay, that's including freight. Can we return freight?
$1.
We only originally purchased it $1 each, and we got a full refund. Okay, so if I end up returning 200 broken toys for $1 each, then how much is my total refund for?
200.
200, right? 200 times $1, it gives you $200. Now, let's go ahead and plug this into my inventory worksheet, okay? Now, this is where things are going to become a little more, the worksheet's going to become a little more fuller, okay? So in this case, right, there is a section that you need to put in your returns and allowances, right? And that will be this bottom right corner here where it says returns, allowances, and discounts. So in this case, right, I end up returning 200 toys, right? In this case, how much did it cost me per toy? In this case, I only have one batch of inventory, right? We established that it's not 105 because that includes the $50 freight. You cannot return freight. So in this case, you can only return the product itself. Well, this is broken toys, right? They may not even request those items back because they're broken. So it's possible that they could just say, all right, I'll give you your money back, right? So in this case, each toy cost me $1, right? So then now I need to figure out what my total refund is for, and it's going to be for the $200. Now, because I end up returning this right here, right, in my purchase returns and allowances, right, I need to adjust my inventory accordingly because I originally bought 1,000, but I'm not going to make any changes here because I need to keep my purchases original, right? I need to keep all the information in here intact, especially because that's what I'm going to do to fill out this section right here. If I make changes to my purchases, right, and I add in or subtract out my returns and allowances, right, all my numbers are going to get messed up. So what I'm going to do here in this middle section, which is your workspace, is I'm going to go ahead and create a small table in here. And I'm going to call this my goods available. Okay? Right? Because in this case, right, do I still have 1,000 units left in my inventory?
Yes. No.
No. Why no? Because I returned 200 of them.
Yeah.
If I return 200 of them, then what's left in my inventory?
800.
You have 800 units left. Okay? And then now, right, our total cost has also changed because I got a refund for $200. So in this case, right, my total cost is going to be $1,050, right? Now, if you do it this way, I'm going to show you a way so then you can save it yourself an extra calculation here, right? 800 times $1 is $800 plus 50 is going to give you 850, right? Instead of doing that, we can take my total cost of 1050 minus 200 and you're going to get the same exact number, 850. So instead of having to go through the motions to recalculate everything, take the total cost because at the end of the day, this is the total amount that I owe. But I end up getting a refund for $200. So it makes sense that here, right, I'm not refunding my freight at all, because this is what this cost right here was the cost of my inventory itself. But I had to tack on because I still owe that $50 to pay for the shipping. So in this case, easiest way to do it is just to take your $1050, okay, and minus your return of the $200, and you're going to get $850, okay? Instead of doing it the other way. 800 times $1 plus your freight of 50, 850. Same exact method or same exact way to calculate the new total cost. So this is my new quantity and my new total cost. So then what does that obligate me to have to do? I need to resolve for my average cost per item because now, is it fair to say that my items are $1.05 each?
No.
No, because I have less units to spread my total cost over. So in this case, I would have to adjust my cost per item as well because I end up subtracting my inventory. So again, because I have a new quantity and a new total cost, you do need to spread that new cost over the total quantity. So in this case, I'm going to take my 850 and divide this by 800. And now what is my cost per item here? Right? 850 divided by 800. 1.0625. And I'll expand it for you guys. Okay, 1.625. Okay, because now you have only $850 and you're spreading it across over 800 units. Okay, that's definitely different than spreading 10,050 over 1,000. So in this case, it has changed my cost per item to be a little more expensive, right? It increased by a penny and a quarter of a penny. Okay. All right. And that is what we do for this first batch of inventory here. Okay? Because we had to make the adjustment, this is what we have to do. Right? Excuse me. So let's go ahead and excuse me. Thank you. All right. See what has happened next. June 10 rolls around. excuse me, and we end up purchasing 850 units at $1.25 with a freight of 45. Okay, so we have 850 at $1.25 at and $45 worth of freight. So, excuse me. So here, let's go ahead and journalize that we purchased more inventory. Okay, so it's June 10, right? How do we journalize purchasing of inventory?
Purchase expense.
Purchase expense. Good. So here, purchase expense, freight expense, and however we paid for it. So in this case, we paid for it on an account, and we end up buying 850 toys at $1.25 each. Okay. So therefore, what should be my total purchase price here? If I purchase 850 units at $1.25. 1,062.50, and my freight was $45. So in this case, 11,750. Good. All right. So let's go ahead and pop this information into our inventory worksheet. So again, now on June 10, we end up purchasing 850 units at $1.25 with a freight of 45. So, right, we already solved it from earlier in our journal, right? We got the 1062.50 plus the 45 to give us the 11,750. Okay. Now, of course, because we are using FIFO, right? We need to keep our batches separate, so we need to calculate our cost per item. So in this case, right, if I take it 11,750 and dividing it amongst 850 units, that means how much is it going to cost me per item that I sell? $1.30. Okay. Now in this case, is this rounded or unrounded? We can double check that. In this case, it is $1.3294. Actually. So in this case, that's what it's at right now. Okay. So then let's go ahead and see what happened next. On June 12th, you end up returning 50 of the toys because they were the wrong color, but you were willing to accept a 20% discount. So in this case, I'm returning the toys because they sent me the wrong color. However, the vendor still said, hey, these toys are still in good condition. The only difference is it's not the color that you ordered. However, because it was our mistake, right, these items, you could still sell them, right? They're just different colors, right? Just tell them it's a limited time only or limited offer only, special editions, right? Many stores do that. So then you could be like, well, in this case, since we made a mistake and sent you the wrong item, right? Again, since there's nothing wrong with the product, right? You can keep the items and I will offer you an additional 20% discount off of it. And of course, you have the option. Are you going to accept it or are you going to say, no, I want my money back because I want those 50 toys to be the right color, right? In this case, you accept the 20% discount because you're like, you're right. I can still sell these toys. I just sell them at a higher price because it's limited. So in this case, I'm going to accept my 20% discount. So therefore, how am I going to journalize this allowance?
Accounts payable.
Correct, right? In this case, the same situation is going to happen, right? Where it's going to be an accounts payable, right? Because I never paid. So the money is going to go against the amount that I owe, right? And what is going to be my credit account?
Purchase, return, and allowance.
Excellent. Purchase, returns, and allowance. Okay. Now in this case, right, I'm not getting all my money back. I'm only getting 20% of it back. And in this case, I can't be taking my whole entire amount. I can only take the amount that were wrong, right? I can only do 50 of those toys because the other 800 was correct. You can't discount something that is correct. All right? Because they correctly sent it to you. You're just having issues with this one because these are 50 items that were the wrong color. So in this case, right, I can only take the discount off of the 50 items that I purchased. So how do I calculate this? Okay, let's establish, okay? How much did it cost me per toy?
125. Is it 50 times 125?
Correct. 50 times 125 because in this case, I need to figure out how much the total amount was for that purchase that I made. So in this case, we're referring to the previous batch of inventory because, again, you wouldn't open up your first batch of inventory, wait until the 12 to figure out that you need to return it, right? So in this case, this is going to be assuming this is from the previous batch, right? Because the rule of thumb is when you receive your inventory items, you should check all of them, okay? All right, so here you go. We're going to take the 50 times the 125. Now, am I getting a full refund on this or only getting a portion of the money back?
A portion.
A portion, right? It was 20%. So in this case, how much money should I actually get back from this?
Is it 62.50?
Okay, so 50 times $1.25 is the 62.50. I'm not getting a full refund. I'm only getting 20% of that.
Okay, so it's 62.50 times 0.20, right?
Correct. I'm only getting 20% of that money back.
$1,250?
Not 1,250. If 62.50 is how much you're supposed to get back, right? That was how much you charged, right? I'm only taking 20%, not times 20. So 20, yeah, $12.50, right? Out of the $62.50, I'm only getting $12.50 back. Okay? So in this case, right, you're going to write allowance for 50 toys at $1.25 each for 20% discount. Okay? So then how do I do that in my table? Right? Well, same situation. We're going to go down below, right? Are we returning anything? Are we actually returning any of the toys back?
No.
No. So in this case, my quantity is not affected. However, because it's still an allowance, right? It's still going to cost me $1.25 per item. Okay, I'm going to use this as a reference point. So this is where I'm going to say here, well, I returned 50 of the items at $1.25, but I'm only getting 20% back. So there you go, $12.50. Now, yes, you're not going to notice this few things. Why am I calculating things twice? If you want to, you can choose to do the inventory worksheet and then do your journal. But oftentimes, right, what's going to happen is someone who's a beginner at journalizing, you're most likely going to skip over the journal and just plug your numbers in, solve for it, and then move on to the next situation. You're going to most likely forget to journalize. So that's why if it works best for you, then fine. You can at least put the account numbers and the account names in the journal and then hold off the calculations because you can calculate it in your worksheet and then paste it over. That works just fine as well too. Okay. So again, now that I made an adjustment to my second batch of inventory, I also need to adjust my account accordingly because in this case, yes, I still have all 850 units because that is what I purchased. I never made a return. However, I did end up getting a portion of the money back because they were discounted. So 50 of those items were discounted. They weren't even $1.25. So in this case, I have to adjust my total cost because I originally had $11.0750, but I got $12.50 back. So in this case, I'm now down to $10.95 even. Now with this $10.95, right? Because I have a new total cost, I need to spread my cost evenly over 850 units because this time my total cost isn't expensive anymore. It's less. So therefore, I need to adjust my cost per item again because the idea that I have less cost to spread over my total quantity. So in this case, I'm going to take $10.95 and divide it by my $8.50. And what should be my average, or what should be my cost per item for this batch of inventory? $1.288235, and so on and so forth. So, like I mentioned, up to six decimal places will give you the best results. Okay, so there you go. That's what happened to my second batch of inventory. Okay, so let's see what happened next. Okay, June 20th rolls around and we end up purchasing 500 toys at $1.50 with the freight costing $25. So if you want to go ahead and plug your values into your inventory worksheet first and then journalize, you can do so. So 500 at $1.50 and $25 freight. So we are on May 20th, 500 at $1.50 with a freight of $25. Okay. So what is my purchase price here? 500 at $1.50. Okay, it's $7.50. Right? Plus 25. $7.75. So in this case, what is my cost per item.
$155.
Oh, I'm moving. $155. Okay. So now I need to record that I made my purchases of inventory. Okay. So okay. Right? I already solved for it. It was $7.50. And then my freight was $25 to give me a total of $7.75. Okay. So then let's see what happened on the 21st. I end up returning 20 defective toys for a full refund. So I end up refunding 20 defective toys for a full refund. So in this case, I actually returned 20 units. Okay. At $1.50 each. Good. Since I'm getting a full refund, I'm getting my whole entire money back. So in this case, 20 times $1.50. $30 refund. Okay. Since I'm already here, let's go ahead and adjust my inventory before I record my journal. Okay. So in this case, I don't actually have 500 units anymore because I end up returning 20 of those units. So I should be left with 480. Okay. And because I got a $30 refund, that means my $775 is no longer, right? It's going to be ending up to be $745. So in this case, I have a new quantity and a new total cost. So I need to adjust my inventory accordingly. So what should be my cost per item now that I have $745 spreading across 480 units?
$1.55208.
Good. So in this case, it didn't change that much for my cost just because, again, the change in the quantity and the total cost was not that drastic. It wasn't like from the very first one where we end up dropping a whole 200 units. Okay, so in this case, it dropped it by very small, but it ended up, making the cost a little more expensive, right? It's 0.2 cents now per item. Okay. So there you go. We have the information that we need that we our returned was a total of $30. So that's what I'm going to do here, right? Record my return. So I have accounts payable and purchase returns and allowance. Okay, for $30. Okay, and of course I'm going to make my note to say here that I returned 20 defective toys at $1.50 each full refund. last but not least, on June 25th, we end up making our last purchase of 600 toys at $1.75 each with a freight of $30. So 600 at $1.75 and a freight of 30. So plug that in here. It is June 25th, 600 units at $1.75 with a freight of 30. I double check that. So purchase 600 at $1.75, freight of 30. Okay.
1,050.
Okay. 1,050. Good. Plus 30.
1,080.
1,080. All right. So what's my cost per item here going to be? If I have 1,080 divided by 600.
$1.80.
$1.80. Good. All right. And let's journalize this. Okay. 600 units. Did I buy 600? 600 toys at $1.25. Yes. So 600 at $1.25, $1.75 should have gave you a purchase of $10.50 plus $30 freight gave you $10.80. Right? We already solved that from calculating in our German. Okay? So here, this is what we need to see. Now, 5 days later, you end up calculating your inventory. So in this case, you were given that you had a total of 1,250 units left. So in this case, that means this batch of inventory, I did not make any returns or anything in regards to many changes to it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to carry that value down. Okay? Because in this case, that is exactly, I made no changes to this, so this should stay the exact same. Okay? All right, $1.80. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start creating tables here to represent that. I'm going to be tallying up my totals here. So I got my totals. I need to tally up my totals for my goods available, and I'm going to tally up my totals for my total net purchases, okay, as well as my returns and allowances. Okay, so that's 3 sections I need to calculate. So in this case, because I left this alone, right, I need to determine how many items I purchased in grand total and then counter them against my returns, and that should give you my total goods available to be equal, okay? Or your net purchases to equal your goods available. Okay? So in this case, what is my total amount of items that I actually originally purchased? $1,000 plus $850 is $1,850 plus $500 is $2,350 plus $600 gives you 2,950. Right? So then, what is my total purchase price here?
$3,000.
862.50. Good. What's my total freight?
150.
150. Okay, add those two numbers together. You should get 4012.50. 4012.50. Okay. And then let's go ahead and add up my total goods available. Right? Because this is what I purchased. This is what I have now actually in my inventory. So 800 plus 850 plus 480 plus 600.
$27.30.
2730. Good. What's my total cost here? Right? My total new value of cost.
$3,770.
3,770. Okay. What is my total quantity I returned?
220.
220. Good. And then what is the total refund I got? How much money did I actually got back? 242.50. Good. So now that I solved for all of my numbers here, now let's plug it into this section here to determine my total net purchases. So this is what I originally purchased, right? I purchased everything at 2,950 units at 3,862.50, right? I end up returning 220 units at a total refund of $242.50. So therefore, my total, right? I need to subtract these because that's what a return does. It subtracts from your original purchase. So in this case, I should get 2,730, right? At $3,620. Okay? So that's just that calculation there. Now remember, freight adds 0 to quantity, but this $150 is going to affect my total cost. So if I add these values up together, I still get 2,730, but in this case, I get a grand total of $3,770. Now, of course, this is my goods available, not my net purchases, but because I have 0 beginning inventory, and if I carry those values down to my net purchases, right, my net purchases becomes my goods available. So in this case, this table right here is what you're going to be looking at when you're going to be costing out your cost of goods sold, because this table gives you what you actually have available to sell versus what you originally purchased, because you end up returning some of those along the way. So in this case, my goods available, this table right here is what I'm going to be utilizing to calculate my cost of goods sold. So in this case, on June 30th, I had a total of 1,250 units. So in this case, 1,250 is my end. Like 1,250 is my ending. So therefore, how many items did I actually sell?
2730? No.
Not 5,730. Let's do this again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 1,480. Okay. So in this case, I need to solve for my cost of goods sold. So I'm going to build my table here to represent my cost of goods sold. So if we use the rules of FIFO here, we're going to be getting rid of our first batches of inventory. Okay, so here's my running balance. So I know how many units I have sold as well as how many more I need to keep selling. So in this case, my end goal is I need to sell 1,480. So starting from my first batch of inventory, look at my goods available. Which batch of inventory am I going to sell out from first? Do I still have that 1,000 units?
800?
Remember, this 1,000 that I bought, right? I end up returning 200 of those units. So do I actually have 1,000 of those units?
No.
No. So in this case, I need to look at my goods available. Okay? This is what I have available to sell. So in this case, my first batch here is going to be my 800 batch. And because I am going to take all of it, I don't need to calculate it. So in this case, it's going to give me a total of 850. Okay? So now I sold my first 800. How many more do I need to keep selling? Right? I can do simple math here. 1,480 minus 800. I need to sell 680 units. So in this case, my first batch here of my 800 here is gone. So which batch am I going to take out from next?
$480?
480, no. That's the third batch. I have 4 batches, right? I have 800, 850, 480, and 600. I just got rid of my very first batch.
850?
850. You're going to take out from that one, right? But in this case, right, I'm not taking all of it. So I do have to calculate this one right here. And this is going to cost me $1,288,235. So how much is it going to cost me to sell 680 units at $1,288,235? How much is it going to cost me to sell 680 units at $1.288235?
Well, it's approximately 875. But my calculator's not working right.
Nope, that's correct. 875.9 something. So, oh no, actually, it's 875.99 something. So it's going to tell you to round up. In this case, $876 is correct. Okay. So therefore, I got a grand total cost of goods sold to be $1,726 even. So therefore, what should be my total ending balance? $3,770 minus $1,726 should give you 2,000
44.
$2,044 even. Good. So again, if you want to build your ending balance table in here and rack up what you still have available, you can also do that as well. Okay? Or if you want to, you can even change your cost of goods sold or your goods available right here if you'd like to. But again, I sell reference, so that's not a good idea if I change this section, but you can create a table if you'd like for your ending balance to get you your ending balance. But in this case, the quickest and easiest way is just to take your goods available, subtract what you sold. Okay? But that means at the end of the day, I still have to carry my values over at the end anyway, because again, we still need we will have beginning balances. So in this case, I would have to, if I wanted to, I could build my table if I need to. Okay. Okay, so I'll build my ending balance table right here, since I still have three what do you call it? 3 batches of inventory left, right? So if I call this my ending balance, right? I know for a fact that if I carry out, I know that I have this 850. I already sold 680 units out of it. So that's going to give me 170 left over. And of course, you have this 480 and you have this 600 left. So you can equal sum your table here, right? And you'll get 1250. Okay. And of course, I got to carry my values down. All right. And this one, I can just take my cost of this minus what I sold and get the 219, right? Which will yield you the same cost per item here. The 1288,235, right? We all know that. okay? And then that's going to give you, if you equal sum this, right? This should give you your ending balance right here. All right? So there you go, your ending balance of $12.50 at $2,044. And again, this table right here is what we're going to copy into our inventory worksheet in the next round, okay? All right. Any questions so far? What happens when you have purchase returns and allowances? Okay. Let's finish up our last part, which is our conversion entry. So it's June 30th now. Okay. What do I need to recognize to for my conversion entry? What accounts do I need to recognize for my conversion entry? You need to recognize inventory, cost of goods sold, and freight expense, okay? So in this case, what was my total the total value of my ending inventory? Oh, my numbers changed. Okay, it should be ending balance. Okay, so let me fix that because I end up moving my formulas over. Ending balance is whatever this is minus this. All right, I gotta change a bit. So in this case, my cost of goods sold should be this number here. Okay, there you go. So my ending balance should be 2,044. So that's what I gotta put in my journal is my ending balance is going to be at 2,044. Cost of goods sold. What was the total value of my cost of goods sold? Good. And what was the total value of my purchase price? My original purchase price. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so good. Now I need to yeah. What was the total value of my purchase price? $36.20. And then what was my total freight? $150. So in this case, let's go ahead and double check my table here to see if my total debits equal my total credits. So in this case, I got a total debit of $37.70 versus my total credit of $4,012.50. I'm missing a debit. Okay, so in this case, let's see. If I were to add, right, or if I were to figure out my numbers here, right? So what's the difference? So $40.12.50 minus $37.70, I get $242.50. Where do I see this number? It's your purchase returns and allowances. So again, now new addition to the journal, you need to also remember if there's a purchase returns and allowances, right? In order to zero that account out, you need to reverse it, right? So in this case, if I credited my purchase returns and allowances, that means in my conversion, it will recognize as a debit in this case. Okay? So it's like, remember, we talked about this, right? Your purchase expense and your freight expense is your overall inventory. That's where all your units are currently laying, right? Now, when we do our conversion entry, we got to say, well, I'm going to distribute this many amount because this is how many I have on hand, which is my 1,250 units. But I also have to say I also sold 1,900 units, okay? But I also returned 220 units. So that's what the idea here is that when you do this, one thing that you have to do when you have a returns and allowances is it's going to be adjusted into your part of your conversion entry as well, because in this case, that's one of the accounts that you put your original purchase of inventory into as well. Okay, you end up returning those items. Okay, all right. So again, we are going to write here conversion entry for periodic inventory purchases. Okay. Any questions in regards to this? And again, your total debits match your total credits. Any questions in regards to this chapter 5 review, just the very first section here for purchase returns and allowances for FIFO. Okay. So again, the next section we're going to do is we're going to introduce to the last very concept is what happens if you have these returns and allowances and have beginning inventory, right? So again, this form is just going to get bigger and fuller and fuller. So other than that, if you don't have any other extra questions, then you guys